Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today we are repairing one of these heated vests. A little bit of a design flaw that some of them have, not all of them, but is the battery cable breaks off, and then it's like left in the battery. So this is the end, and that was the USB piece that was in there, and basically it snapped off. So this is my daughter's heated vest. She's very petite and absolutely loves this thing, but it broke. All right, so anyway, first things first, obviously you got to pull this end out. You might need a little pair of pliers, but that's now garbage. And see how this end kind of like lays down? So it's kind of flat when it lays in there. So you got to find a USB cable that you can basically cut in half and rewire into this, and I'll show you how to do that now. So this was the U-Green, or anything similar will work. I'll put the links at the bottom for all the stuff that I used. So you're going to need a USB cable. You're going to need some shrink fit solderless fittings. Makes life easier. A safety knife, a wire stripper, and then some heat shrink tubing to keep it waterproof, because you do eventually want to wash these. So let's open up this pack and I'll show you what we're doing. Careful not to cut the vest while you're doing this repair. All right, so see how it has a similar end. Obviously this one's broken on the vest, but this is new. But it's got that 90-degree angle on it, so it's going to lay a lot flatter on this. So we're going to give a generous amount of cord, a little bit more than what they originally had, and you basically just cut the cord, and you're going to peel it back, and you are going to be looking for all the wires that are in here. And I'm going to have to cut this a little bit more. Never cut towards yourself. Huge safety thing. Okay. And the fabric coating does make things a little vicariously interesting. Okay, good. So we're going to see how this wire stripper works on this. So we're going to strip this back. So it's going to expose the wires that are underneath. And so you got a couple wires. Your green, your red. Then you got your standard ground wire, which is kind of like buried in here. And those are the ones you're going to be looking for. All right, so it's going to be your ground, which is going to be this little silver one. Sometimes they're black. This one's uncoated on this. And then it's going to be your red. It's going to be your power line on that. And then you don't need these other ones. So I'm just going to twist this little threading, and we're going to cut that out. Okay, so you don't need that. Oops, I got a call. I'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. Had a quick phone call I had to grab. But anyway, so you got your red, and then you got your silver on this one, but typically it's black. These are your two power leads. And your white and your green are typically your data transfer leads. So we're just going to put them out of the way for now. And when we do some shrink wrapping, we'll put them away so they don't expose each other and touch each other. I'm actually going to cut this one a little bit shorter, so it's out of the way completely, so we don't have to worry about any wires touching. Okay, so next we're going to do the same thing on this piece right here with our handy dandy utility knife, and you want to cut it so you're using the least amount possible here. Okay, so we cut that out, and then it's got this fabric coating on it as well. So we'll slide that back. And then we use our handy dandy wire stripper to expose the wires. And then on this, you basically just have the red and a copper ground. So that makes it like so much easier to basically follow along on. So basically, we just have these couple wires to put together. So with our wire stripper, we are going to strip down this red wire. And actually, that looks a little... All right, I'm going to show you a quick trick that we like to use. And when you get thin wires like this, sometimes it's always good to have a lighter around. So you can use one of these arc ones. But basically, you put the wire into the lighter, and then you just heat up real quick. And then with your fingernail, you can pull the coating right off. So, again, just melt it a little bit, wait a quick second, and then you can peel the coating right off, and you got a nice stripped wire. And especially when it's small like this, sometimes using a wire strip like this, you can like just rip the wire apart. And I just made that call right now, just looking at it from my experience. But anyhow, so back to this one. So we're going to do the same thing there, and we're going to use the lighter. It's one of these fancy plasma lighters. We're just going to heat that wire up and then just peel it off with our finger. Make sure you're safe. Don't burn yourself. And we're just going to add a little more heat to this just to burn the rest of that plastic off. Okay, and again, do this safely, please. Definitely do that safely. But anyhow, so now we got all these wires basically ready to go and to put together. Now, before we do anything, we're going to use, this is a box of heat shrink tubing that I got. It's got like an assortment of sizes. So it's going to be trying to find out which size is going to like work best on the vest on this. It's kind of like a dad joke. If my daughter heard that, she'd like be horrified. Anyway, so this one looks like it might just be a little bit too big. I mean, too thin. So we're going to look for the next size up, which I think is probably going to be this one. Yeah, this one should work out pretty good. So I'm going to slide the heat shrink tubing over these wires, and then it's going to go over to these data wires, which are at the bottom. And then you just kind of like twist it out of sight. Okay, so you want it to look like that. Actually, I might want to use a little bit of a bigger one, but let's see how this one goes. Okay, maybe we'll put a second one on the other side, just so we have some extra, just in case we need it. And if we don't, it can hold some of the fabric in place and out of the way, which will make life a little bit easier. All right, so we'll slide that one down. And again, just twist the wires so they're ready and prepared. So we'll put the heat shrink tubing out of the way. Now we're going to use these solderless heat shrink wire connectors. And you got a bunch of different sizes. And we are going to use the smaller ones. That's the small sort of white ones. And basically you are slipping this over your wire. And then you're going to be slipping a red side in here. Make sure you twist it so you don't have any weird frays coming up. And then we're going to slip this wire in here. And we're going to slip them past each other in the casing. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to make a really good connection. Now, you have a heat gun. You want to aim it up and away from your vest because you are going to melt it otherwise, because these vests are nylon. So anyway, give it some heat. And you'll see it shrink the solder that's in there. And it'll make a really good connection on there. So just watch for it. You'll see it kind of like shrink down. It'll get nice and tight. And Just keep it moving. And you'll see the solder liquefy on the inside. So after you put the heat gun on it, you should see it kind of like look like that for you. So see how it kind of like shrinks down completely. Okay, so let's do the other side. And this is going to be with your ground or your bare coppers. And let's get this wire. Actually, one side's copper, and it looks like it's like an aluminum or like a tin wire on the other side. And I did not spin and fray that enough. And you can use regular solder on this. I'm just trying to keep it simple out there. Not everybody knows how to solder with a soldering gun, and heat guns are pretty easy to get from your local Amazon.com. Okay, so now we got this one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to shrink this one down. And careful your fingers near the heat gun, because this does get a few hundred degrees. Okay, so that's what those two connections look like. Now we're going to test it out before we get too far into the process and put the other heat shrink tubing over this. So we're going to plug this battery in, and let's go this way so it kind of wraps around, and you can tell instantly that the vest is alive and working again. So that is your repair. And I think we're going to slide this down this way. So it's going to hide some of the frays. And then we're going to put this heat shrink tubing over here. Okay, so we're going to have heat shrink this on this side. And you'll see it all shrink down. And I'll make a nice watertight fit for you. Let's twist this around a little bit. Okay, and there you have it. Your repair is basically done, and we got this vest alive again. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal. Some little advertising. I think I got some lint on me too. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, be safe out there. I'll list everything that you need to make this repair down below. But again, it's probably going to happen to your vests, and I apologize ahead of time. It's just part of what happens with these things. Anyway. Be safe out there.